After completing this lesson, you should be able to define the role and responsibilities of the Navy Validator, define assessment and authorization, A&A, describe the history of the Navy's system authorization process, recognize the policies and laws that drive A&A and cybersecurity, understand the applicable security requirements. This course focuses on the Navy Validator's responsibilities during the assessment and authorization A&A process, which helps to manage the implementation of cybersecurity capabilities and services throughout a system's lifecycle. Assessing and authorizing systems ensures that all systems connected to the Department of Defense, DoD, networks have been deemed acceptable to operate with an acceptable level of risk, allowing a system to be tracked throughout the system lifecycle, and provides greater visibility of integrated systems and networks. This training is designed for cybersecurity professionals supporting Navy A&A activities. This lesson provides you with an introduction to the duties and responsibilities of a Navy Validator, a basic understanding of the A&A process, and a brief history of the Navy system authorization process. You will also learn about the policy and legal requirements that drive A&A in the Department of Defense. What is a Navy Validator? A Navy Validator helps protect government information from cybersecurity risks. They support the process of assessing the system and determining the level of risk by providing guidance, validating security measures have been applied, and evaluating documentation for authorization. The Department of the Navy, DON, has defined the validator as an independent third party who assesses and validates that the system has implemented the approved security control baseline. The RMF does not explicitly define a validator role. However, the Navy is implementing the validator role as an extension of the RMF-defined role of a Security Control Assessor, SCA. Thus, the validator role is specific to the Navy, and you may find other DoD services refer only to the SCA role. Within the Navy, the validator is often funded by the information system owner or program manager, yet serves in a somewhat independent reviewer role. This partial independence stems from the fact that validators are ultimately accountable to the Navy SCA and must obtain SCA buy-in to complete the RMF assessment. The validator's role depends on the extent to which the program manager, PM, and information systems security engineer, ISSE, are involved in implementing the A&A process. The primary areas in which the validator must be involved per RMF and the DON RMF process guide include the following: conducting the security control assessment to confirm or establish, by testing, evaluation, examination, investigation, or competent evidence, that DoD information systems, IS, are assigned the correct security controls and that those controls are implemented correctly and are effective in their application. Performing the requisite preparatory steps and conditions, performing the actual validation steps, comparing the actual results with the expected results, and analyzing the differences for impact and risk. Providing the Security Control Assessor, SCA, and the authorizing official, AO, with an accurate technical evaluation of the application, system, or network, documenting residual risk of the open vulnerabilities in the Risk Assessment Report, RAR, for input into the Security Assessment Report, SAR, as necessary. At a minimum, the validator performs the following A&A tasks: conducts a complete security control validation and assessment, completes a Security Assessment Report, SAR, supports update of the Risk Assessment Report, RAR, and Plan of Action and Milestones, POAM. Ensures traceability of all vulnerabilities from raw assessment results to the POAM. Conducts required vulnerability analysis to support mitigation and residual risk determination. Completes the SAR Executive Summary for SCA Liaison Review and SCA Approval. Coordinates with the SCA liaison as their trusted advisor in all matters of risk determination should questions or issues occur. Prepares and submits the Security Assessment Plan, SAP, with program team assistance, and assists with required EMAS data entry requirements and population. Overall, the validator's activities focus on testing, reporting, and assessing risk. However, you may find that your role as a validator includes the development of supporting documents, assisting a PM ISSE in implementing fixes for non-compliant items, and/or providing templates for required documents. The validator also plays a role in populating EMAS after the ISSE has inputted validation evidence for each security control. Being a validator requires a person to be a part-time reviewer, mediator, and trainer, with strong conflict resolution and critical thinking skills. An effective validator has patience and the perseverance to confirm proper security controls are in place, detail-oriented to verify the paperwork process is complete and accurate to achieve a proper assessment and system authorization. Your role as a Navy validator will require you to have strong communication skills as you liaise with the SCA. Be flexible and resilient because your role will likely vary from one project to the next, as each system or authorization effort presents uniquely different compliance challenges and stakeholder involvement. Now that we have discussed the validator's role and responsibilities, let's define the A&A process in more detail. Government information is protected from unauthorized disclosure by implementing specific directives and processes to ensure its safekeeping. The risk management framework guides the protection mechanisms used to manage the implementation of cybersecurity capabilities and services and provide visibility into authorization decisions regarding the operation of DoD information systems. As part of the RMF, assessment and authorization, A&A, are the technical evaluation activities that enable a system authorization decision to be made. As part of the Navy's RMF implementation planning, the acronym A&A has been adopted to uniquely identify the process for obtaining an authorization to operate, ATO. RMF defines the assessment and authorization activities in great detail, yet does not adopt the term A&A in the related DoD instruction or NIST publications. Therefore, you may find other DoD services use the term RMF when referring to the specific assessment and system authorization process. Click each of the 3 interactive buttons to learn more about the terms associated with A&A. Let's review the history of the Navy's system authorization process. The Department of Defense has evolved from DIACAP, released in 1997, to DIACAP, released in 2007, and now RMF. RMF introduces the first standardized approach to security control assessment and authorization that is consistently required across the entire federal government, including the intelligence community. Both DIACAP and DIACAP were unique to the DoD, which caused variations among the many federal communities. Click the Next button for more information on A&A history. DIACAP has evolved into the RMF, developed by the Joint Task Force, JTF, Transformation Initiative Working Group. The group provides a disciplined and structured process that integrates information security and risk management activities into the system development lifecycle ongoing effort to produce a unified information security framework for the federal government. EMAS is the DoD's required implementation tool with the Knowledge Service, KS, as the official implementation site. The ongoing Cybersecurity Transformation Initiative began in 2010 and is focused on a set of goals related to establishing a common set of trust levels, reciprocity, and common security controls. Take 2 minutes to review some transformation goals listed on the screen. The transformation goals also include common lexicon, senior risk executive function, cybersecurity integration into enterprise architectures, and a focus on common processes. Take 1 minute to review some more transformation goals listed on the screen. There are 6 steps within the RMF process that will be discussed in greater detail during the next Computer-Based Training, CBT, module. In this activity, however, you will receive a high-level introduction to the 6-step RMF process. Click the Next button to continue. On the screen is a list of some differences between DIACAP and RMF. Take 3 minutes to review these differences. Notice that RMF introduces common controls and overlays, which will be discussed in great detail during the instructor-led training portion of this course. RMF brings a shift in culture from a snapshot-in-time CNA process to a continuous risk management process. RMF promotes risk-based decision-making, vice-compliant, non-compliant view of a system. RMF will undoubtedly bring about additional changes and benefits to the way A&A is performed across DoD as cybersecurity professionals continue to look for ways to secure systems and maintain an acceptable cybersecurity posture over the entire system lifecycle. With the transition from DIACAP to RMF, the DoD has adopted a new set of terms as charted on the screen. Most notably, the term Information Assurance, IA, has been replaced with cybersecurity, and the term Certification and Accreditation, CNA, is now referred to in the Navy as Assessment and Authorization, A&A. Take 30 seconds to review the new terminology. Among roles, many of the titles have changed. For example, the Operation Designated Accrediting Authority, ODAA, is now titled the Authorizing Official, AO. The Navy Certifying Authority, CA, is now titled the Security Control Assessor, SCA. Take 1 minute to review the other role titles that have changed. A&A is not only an important consideration in the acquisition process, it is a requirement. Designing and integrating cybersecurity capabilities into our systems, applications, and network infrastructure will result in a secure, net-centric environment. Cybersecurity activities are integral to the acquisition process to ensure the cybersecurity posture of the systems is established and can be maintained while supporting the requirements of the warfighter. As a validator, you should familiarize yourself with acquisition lifecycle, related directives, and instructions, and have them available as references given the key areas that will intersect with the A&A process. Two helpful resources that identify this intersection among RMF and acquisition are the DoD Program Manager's Guidebook for Integrating the Cybersecurity RMF into the System Acquisition Lifecycle and the DoD Cybersecurity Test and Evaluation Guidebook, both of which can be accessed by clicking the hyperlinks displayed at the bottom of this screen. Each of the RMF steps are depicted here as they relate to the acquisition lifecycle. As illustrated, several key activities associated with RMF Step 1 should occur well before Milestone B. Notice the RMF Step 2. Selecting security controls should occur early enough in the lifecycle to ensure the system is designed to meet those controls. The process of selecting controls can be complex, and the acquisition schedule must account for this activity and the time needed to obtain SCA AO review and endorsement of the security control set selected. The validator may have a role in the early stages of acquisition. At a minimum, the information system owner, or program manager, must build cybersecurity requirements early during the acquisition lifecycle to be successful in A&A. Cybersecurity must be considered, built in, applied, tested, and maintained throughout the system lifecycle. Failure to plan for cybersecurity can destroy confidence in the information provided to decision-makers, cast doubt on the integrity of core systems, and increase time needed for a system authorization decision. The most common problem reported by the Navy SCA is insufficient security control implementation. This can be avoided by integrating A&A prior to Milestone B. Once a security vulnerability has been discovered that cannot be remediated without significant design modifications, schedule and cost becomes negatively affected and the cost to perform A&A escalates over time. A key security policy worth mentioning is the Committee on National Security Systems Policy, CNSSP, number 11. This is the National Information Assurance Acquisition Policy that will be evaluated for compliance as part of the Security Control Assessment activity under RMF. This policy mandates that IA or IA-enabled products will be evaluated using an NSA-approved process. This policy is often addressed far too late in the acquisition process and ultimately becomes a compliance issue that must be dealt with during A&A. When supporting the early A&A planning, it is important to assess compliance with this policy early and avoid a common pitfall. An IA product is designed specifically to implement some level of security. For example, a firewall, virtual private network, VPN, or an intrusion detection system, IDS, are IA products because their primary role is security. IA-enabled products provide security services as an associated feature of its intended operating capabilities. For example, an operating system is considered IA-enabled because its primary role is not security, but it offers security services as an associated feature to prevent unauthorized access and configuration control. In other words, an operating system's job is to run the computer, but the OS offers security features to protect the system. Committee on National Security Systems Policy Number 11 mandates the use of Common Criteria (CC) evaluated products in national security systems for IA or IA-enabled product systems. It is critical that every system's hardware and software inventory be reviewed, and all IA or IA-enabled products be identified and evaluated for CC approval. In addition to CNSSP 11, which applies to national security systems, there is a cybersecurity control dedicated to the validation of common criteria compliance, which is often the source of a high-risk finding during A&A. Because a product is considered common criteria certified does not mean the cybersecurity features are automatically implemented. Therefore, it is up to the system administrator to ensure the cybersecurity features are active and configured in a way that aligns with the CC certification, and is the validator's role to verify correct implementation. As a validator, you should be familiar with the three most influential statutes driving cybersecurity and acquisition as practiced today. The Clinger-Cohen Act, CCA, of 1996 establishes a minimum set of controls to be included in the Federal Automated Information Security Programs. Federal Information Security Management Act of 2002, commonly known as FISMA, requires each agency to develop, document, and implement an agency-wide information security program. FISMA is the primary driver of A&A. OMB Circular A130-2000 establishes a minimum set of controls to be included in federal automated information security programs. The NIST 853 controls validated during A&A are inclusive and provide a deeper level of detail than these higher-level, broad set of controls. On the next several pages, we will take a closer look at FISMA and OMB A130, then dive deeper into DoD and Navy-specific policy. The E-Government Act of 2002 establishes FISMA, addresses IT among federal agencies, and addresses ways to protect the confidentiality of information. This interaction outlines the purpose and objectives of FISMA as a driver of A&A. Click each section to view additional information, then click the next arrow to continue. The National Directive OMB Circular A130 led to the establishment of A&A. Click each section to view additional information about OMB Circular A130. DAWN Application and Database Management System, DATAMS, is a web-enabled registry of Navy and Marine Corps systems and applications. DoD IT Portfolio Repository, DAWN, DIT per DAWN, is an application hosted on the DATAMS platform that keeps track of DoD Information Technology Portfolio Repository in the Department of the Navy and is the single authoritative source for data regarding DON IT systems, including national security systems, mission critical, mission essential, and mission support systems. DIT per DON is used to satisfy statutory and management reporting requirements, including FSMA reporting and the Business Management Modernization Program certification process, and it helps to establish an accurate and reliable enterprise-wide inventory. Per OPNAV N6122, if an application or system is not registered in DATAMS, it is not considered an official Navy application or system, and therefore cannot be permitted to go on board a Navy ship. Guidance on registration requirements for the DATAMS and DIT per DON is provided by the DON Chief Information Officer, CIO. As a validator, you must verify that all applications being presented for A&A have been entered into DATAMS and approved by the appropriate Functional Area Manager, FAM. There are 24 established Functional Area Managers, FAMs, who review and approve the use of all applications in the Navy in an effort to reduce inventory by removing redundant applications. In May 2001, the DON had an estimated 100,000 IT applications deployed on various desktops and networks across the Navy enterprise. As tasked by Congress, the Navy developed the FAM process to document and rationalize these IT applications. The mandated end state for this rationalization process was a 95% reduction of all applications. Listed are some additional resources that may help you as a Navy validator. Several of these links require DoD PKI or Common Access Card. Congratulations! You have completed the lesson. You should now be able to define the role and responsibilities of the Navy Validator, define assessment and authorization, A&A, describe the history of the Navy's system authorization process, recognize the policies and laws that drive A&A and cybersecurity, understand the applicable security requirements,